Namaste students. So today we are going to start with the revision of chapter number 4, e-commerce, m-commerce and emerging technologies. Now while teaching this chapter, I told you that this chapter is actually divided into two parts. First part e-commerce and m-commerce, second part emerging technologies. Okay. So right now we are starting with the first part, e-commerce and m-commerce, one of the easiest topic. Almost contents are very easy. Okay. What is e-commerce? E-commerce is nothing but buying and selling of goods and services, correct? Yes or no? But what main differentiation is buying and selling of goods and services is through electronic medium. Like when you are buying from online, that is one of the example of e-commerce. I told you also that if you remember, big companies, they do not give orders manually. Their system will issue the order to the respected supplier. So their supplier system and their system are connected with each other. Orders are passing, data are getting exchanged. That is also known as e-commerce. Okay. Now, initially, if you remember in this chapter, this small table came traditional commerce and e-commerce, but I told you that this is not that much important. And what was earlier form of commerce? Initially, manufacturers will give their product to the wholesalers. Wholesalers will give their product to retailers, and then ultimately from retailer to consumer. But because of e-commerce, now at sitting at home, you can directly order goods from the manufacturers. Okay, and the goods will be delivered to your doorstep. That is what the difference between e-commerce and a normal traditional commerce. A basic difference. Now, apart from that, the next topic itself we have done difference between traditional commerce and e-commerce, like definition is different. There is manual, here's electronic. Limited time, obviously any shop can open for a limited period of time, maybe morning 6 o'clock to evening 11 o'clock, not 24 cross 7. Okay. Apart from that, nature of purchase in traditional commerce, we can check the goods. In e-commerce, obviously we cannot check the goods, but once goods will come to your home, then you can check, and if you don't want, you can reject it. Then customer interaction face to face. In traditional, here screen to face. Right now also you can facing screen only, correct? Now, business scope limited to the locality in which the shop is operating. Here, it's a global reach. Apart from that, uniform information exchange online, because online every information is available. Apart from that, when I talk about marketing, so in shop it is always one-way marketing, one to one, correct? But you can only do limited scope is very limited. You can market, what you can do in marketing, what you can do, you can capture a limited number of people. But when you talk about online, so how the number of people who are sitting in front of computers in their like for example Amazon. Now at that time, number of users who are using Amazon at a time, you can see I am accessing Amazon for cell phone, someone else is accessing Amazon for something else. So it is one-to-one marketing to each and every individual across the world. Okay. Payment, we know that delivery of goods, obviously in traditional it is instant, here it takes time, but nowadays we have a concept called 2 hours delivery, 4 hours delivery. Okay. And if I talk about profit impact, you can see the cost incurred on the middleman, overhead, inventory, limited sales, which is obviously I have given you an actual example also. Manufacturer, distributor, wholesaler. If you remember this, okay, if you remember this, then retailer, and finally customer. And then look, manufacturer will give to distributor, then distributor will give to wholesaler, wholesaler to retailer, and then finally retailer will sell to the customer. So everyone's profit margin will be added. But in e-commerce, a goods can be directly sold from manufacturer to customer, which will be less costly also for the customer point of view, and faster delivery also. Okay. And apart from fraud, in physical business, a normal shop, there is very less chances of fraud, but in online there are, nowadays you are always hearing that someone called a Zomato call center, but the call center number was fake and he lose his 40,000 50,000 rupees. So the chances of fraud will be always more in case of online commerce. Okay. Or you can say e-commerce. Now these are the basic differences which also you can complete. Now apart from that, they have explained the whole e-commerce transaction, how you can shop, but I told you that that is also only for normal reading part. And then they went for the benefits for e-commerce. Now here they have divided the benefits into three parts: benefits from customer point of view, benefits from business or sellers point of view, and the benefits from government point of view. Okay. So in exam also they will ask a specific question, but look, obviously here points are easy and there is no such very huge technical concepts, so we will not discuss on benefits. Okay. Now after this there is a new topic added in amendment. So May 19, November 19, or you can say just before November 19, all the students, this topic was not there in your syllabus. Okay. This topic is added for May 20 and November 20. Now, e-commerce business model, actually, if I say there are multiple types of business model like B2B, business to business, B2C, business to consumer, C2C, consumer to consumer. There are so many business models, but in that also there are subcategories. Like you can see e-shop. Now, I told you at the time of lecture also, I gave an example. Because slowly, small vendors are getting online, like Dell. So Dell has a showroom also, and they have now online website also. That is called e-shops. E-mall. When mall means what? Multiple different players are concentrated at one place. Same way now they will also come online. So you can at one website you are going to get all the different vendors product. E-auction. In India we don't have a concept of e-auction. Earlier it was a concept of eBay. In eBay there will be a product, and for that you need to bid. But again I said there is no concept like eBay in India right now. Portals are nothing but a place. Now for example, understand, like amazon.com. When you access Amazon, so in Amazon first you need to log in, correct? Then you search the products, then your profiles will be created. So this login, log out, profiles will be created. These facilities are provided by portals. These facilities are provided by portals. So in future, suppose I want to create a website where my students can log in, log out. I can keep a record of all the students. Then I require portals. Buyer aggregators is nothing but a place where multiple buyers are gathered at one place. Multiple customers will be also gathered at one place. Buyer will meet the customers, and there will be a common platform like Zomato. So that is buyer aggregator. Virtual communities are nothing but Facebook, where you are meeting the peoples virtually. Many students always ask me, sir, what is the uh, revenue of Facebook? Because they are not selling any product, they are not actually giving any services. Look, you think that they are not giving any services, but when you are using the Facebook, when you are chatting with your friends, when you're searching, browsing, Facebook is collecting all your habit. Yes, what you are accessing, how much time you are spending on which articles, and all those informations will be given by Facebook to the different vendors, and for that they will get the money. That is also one of the business model, and that is how actually Facebook earns, by through marketing, supplying your information to the other people. Okay. Then e-marketing is a place which I also used to use earlier days when I was teaching in CA final. Now suppose I want to send one email to the thousands of students. Then how can I send this one email to thousands of students at the same time? Then I need to take services of e-marketing players. They will give me a platform. E-marketing service player, they will give me a platform from where I can send one email to thousands of people, and for obviously for each email I need to pay to them. Like with that, like same like that. I also another example, look, nowadays WhatsApp, Telegram groups are very common. But earlier, suppose if as a classes, think like as classes, suppose if I want to cancel lecture in the morning, I got a call from some of the professor whose lecture was there. He told me, sir, some unfortunate events occurred at my home, so I won't be able to take lectures today. Now how will I inform to the thousands of students? Suppose for example in any classes, suppose there are 500 students, 600 students, how will I inform them? I cannot call each and every student. So earlier we used SMS. So we send SMS to 500 students at the same time. But that is not possible through the cell phone. That is not possible through cell phone. You cannot send 500 students, at the same time. But this e-marketing people will help us. Bulk SMS is a concept. Bulk email is a concept through which you can send a same SMS to the thousands of people at the same time. Okay. And then e-procurement and e-distribution is something like, what? Now slowly understand a concept. All the purchase in India, there is a website called India Mart. Okay. Now such kind of companies will help the other companies to procure their required supplies. Whatever raw material they required, this India Mart will help them to procure online only. So yes, that is what e-procurement. Everything, all purchases, transactions will be online. And e-distribution, now understand, look, Amazon. Now once you place order to Amazon, but after that, that product should be reached to the ultimate customer, and for that distribution is required. Now such kind of infrastructure will be provided by such kind of infrastructure provided by e-distribution companies. Okay, suppose in the future, not future, right now only, suppose I have my own website, jigneshra.com. Some student told me, sir, I want your lectures. I told you, okay, no problem, this is the fees. He paid the fees, and now I need to send pen drive to that student. So accumulation of all the information about the student, their addresses, you understand, then I will tie up with this distribution companies. What they will do, they will pick up the parcel from my office, and all the entries will be done, that pickup is done, and student will also get all the details. The pickup has been done, the product has been shipped, and all that tracking information will be stored in the system. And ultimately, when the student will get the product, that also information will be stored. So the tracking of all information from picking up to the deliver will be done by these third party companies. So all these companies will provide us these services. Okay, procurement means purchase, and distribution means distribution of goods and services. Okay, so these are the new concept which is added. Obviously, I will not get into the details because this is a revision lecture. Okay, now after this, what I explained earlier, three important models: B2C, B2B, C2C, business to consumer, business to business, and consumer to consumer. Like OLX, you have heard of it, is consumer to consumer model. Okay, Amazon is B2C model. Yes, but Alibaba, when you talk about Alibaba, it is business to business because they deal in large quantities. Okay, now after this, we'll start with the next concept, is nothing but components of e-commerce. Now look, it is very easy for us to just take our cell phone, open the mobile application, and take and just buy the product. But understand, there are so many players involved in this entire transaction when you are buying any goods or services online. Now the first itself user, the another itself the e-commerce vendor who is providing the services. Apart from that, there are network service providers, payment gateways. Yes, of course, they are also one of the very important, the other necessary infrastructure required to process this entire transactions, because there is no one transaction at a time. If you talk about Amazon, if you talk about Snapdeal, if you talk about Flipkart, Mintra, then at the same time lakhs of or crores of transactions are going on, processing is going on. Correct. So for that also you require infrastructure, technology, infrastructure, servers. So all those things will come under this particular topic, components of e-commerce. Now first is user, second is e-commerce vendor. Here Amazon is the vendor, but vendor has to take care of, there are certain aspects, like for example suppliers. The suppliers will supply goods to Amazon, and then Amazon will sell the product. Apart from that, there are warehouse operations. Shipping and return is one of the most important tasks of Amazon, Flipkart, online companies. And because they are very good in this shipping and return, look, if you just order, the product will be delivered to your doorstep. But if you don't like the product, you just click return, and they will come and they will pick up. This is the best part of the Amazon, Flipkart, and all of the good companies. Okay, I will not talk about everyone, but at least good companies. Now then apart from that, they have all the products, the proper displays, the different photographs. They have a marketing and loyalty programs where they will give us coupons through which you can get discounts. Now slowly they are going for offline purchase, where nothing but they will go open a shop, and from there also you can buy the product. Then of course different ordering methods: cash on delivery, debit card, credit card, net banking, UPI, wallets. They also assure your guarantees, and they will also make sure that our data which is captured by the Amazon or Flipkart, which means e-commerce companies, they will make sure that that data should not be leaked to someone else. Okay, now next third part is technology infrastructure, where obviously computer servers. But right now look, most of the companies are not investing. Like a person like me, I'm very small individual. I only get 2 times a roti. My income is very small, little peanuts. I earn peanuts. So it is not possible for me to set up or invest in huge infrastructure for e-commerce, for my website, for selling my lectures. So what will I do? I will go for the cloud. Correct, where I will use another company's infrastructure, and I will provide services to my customer, which means my students. Second, one of the most important thing nowadays, which I always feel, which is must for every company, is nothing but mobile apps. Now if you believe, right now we don't have time to sit on laptop also. So what is more important is mobile applications. Correct, you can see mobile applications. Can you see this mobile cell phone? Now here I'm just giving you one small example. You just click, then try to open your Amazon. Look, you just got the application on, select the product. Sorry, maybe it is little not visible due to technology again. Can you see this Amazon? You can see. Okay, Now, there are various aspects of mobile application also, like it is a front module where everything is categorized. Apart from that, they have a coupon code system where you can get the discounts. They have a marketing modules like Amazon always have whenever they are going to launch OnePlus. The first module which they use, the first part is always for OnePlus T launching and question mark and like they create a hype and people will go into that particular part and they get all the information about the products. Apart from that, uh, the most important part is nothing but the payments in mobile application. Finally, when you buy the product, ultimately what is important? Payment, correct? So there are different inbuilt systems are there, like Amazon's own wallet, Amazon Pays option is there. Apart from that, debit card, credit card, net banking, through which you can pay your amount to your respected custom sorry Amazon, whatever product you're buying, you can pay to them. Okay. Then digital libraries. Now, whatever images, videos, whatever you're watching, okay, all the content, all the informations, they need to store at some place, and that place is known as digital library. Always remember, website is just a display. Website is the display place. They cannot store any contents. So the things which are displayed on the website are actually came from some different sources. It is coming from different sources, and the source from where images, audio, video, text, everything is coming is known as digital library. And apart from that, all the players who are communicating over e-commerce transaction, user, vendor, apart from that, supplier, apart from that, bank, do you understand, payment gateway, they all are using may or may not different architectures, different infrastructures. So they require a common language to interact with each other. They all require a common language. Remember chapter 2 XBRL concept. When you all have a different language, and if you want to communicate with each other, you need a common language. And here data interchange is an aspect where we create a common standard, common protocol through which everyone can communicate with each other. Now, apart from internet, which is one of the most important part, because without internet you cannot do anything, correct? Then web portal, again, web portals are nothing but through which you can access easily the portals which we have discussed just now. Remember, it will help us to create login, records, profile creations. Yes, that is what web portals. And finally, a payment gateway, getting the payment from customer and passing to the supplier. This interaction of payments will be done by payment gateway. PayPal is one of the biggest example of payment gateway. Okay. Apart from that, there are many payment gateways right now in India. Now, how will you implement this entire e-commerce infrastructure? How will you implement? There are two architectures. Obviously, architecture is nothing but a concept, a construction concept, how we construct network here in e-commerce, how user and companies will interact with each other. So there are two different architectures here available, 2-tier and 3-tier. If you remember, I explained you as when number of people grow, we do not store data in our computer, we store all data at common place, which is nothing but the database. So all the users can access the same data when all the data will be stored at a common place. If you remember integrated concept, integrated, where all data will be stored at one place, so all users can access, all department can access the same data. Remember, that is also called 2-tier architecture, where users will sit here, like you can see individual users, and they will access required information from database. So this is what presentation tier, through which user can interact with the database tier for the required data. This is 2-tier architecture. Okay. Now here again, I'm not going to explain advantage or disadvantage, which we have already done in detail. The main aspect was in 2-tier architecture, one will be presentation, another will be database. Okay. What is the best part? Easy to implement. What is the best part? All data at the same place, so multiple users can interact with each other, so interact with the same data at the same time. But when you talk about the disadvantage, if you talk about disadvantage, you can see performance deteriorates, number of users increase, performance will deteriorate. That is one of the biggest disadvantage of 2-tier. And all users, you can see the number of users who can access database, this all users need to use same application. They cannot use different applications. Why they cannot use different applications? Because data is common. stored at one place. So you cannot use multiple applications in on different computers. You also need to use standard application. What is and that what they are saying disadvantage as there is a restricted flexibility and choice of DBMS because data is common. So you don't have much options. But then we've gone for three-tier architecture. As your users will increase, as your companies or departments are scattered all geographical areas, it is not possible practically to use two-tier architecture. Then we need to shift our architecture on internet. So what we will do, we will use, you can see this is our first presentation tier. Our clients will use internet and browser to access our application. We do not want to install application on each computer. We want to install application on a common server. So every users from across the globe can access the common application using internet and browser. And then our data will be stored at a central database server. So we have a three-tier architecture: presentation tier, application tier, and database tier. Okay. Now again, multiple users can access the applications. That is one of the biggest advantage you have. Yes or no? Now, like, but always think here in the disadvantage in this particular part, disadvantage, they have given some good points which is not related to us because we don't have a detailed explanations of three-tier architectures. In study material also, they had just given the tools which we are using to access three-tier architecture or to maintain the three-tier architectures are complex. Now, what do you mean by this statement? First of all, we do not know about the tools which we are using because they don't have any explanations in our study material. But sometimes you need to have a concept called acceptance. Just accept it. These statements are there. Try to remember and just proceed for the next topic. Don't invest your hours and hours and minutes in this single line which do not have any logic right now for us. Okay, so three-tier architecture, and if you remember, the advantage was CCD. I have given the keyword CCD. Okay, and what is the another best advantage? Whenever you want to upgrade application, you just need to upgrade here on a application tier. Okay, now look, I know that some students will say, sir, you are not teaching every point, but this is revision lectures. I'm going to focus on some important points only. Okay, and look, those who are my students, if you have any difficulty and problem in any point, you can text me, you can SMS me, you can WhatsApp me, correct? You can Telegram me. There are so many channels you have to contact me. So relax and proceed with the concepts. In revision, we focus on concepts. Now the next thing after this, and which tier you will use for e-commerce, which tier? You can see it's always three-tier architecture we use for e-commerce. Okay, now next concept you will learn, where I told you that there are two different tables they have given. One e-commerce via internet, one question is an e-commerce via mobile app. If you remember, I told you this, there are two questions, but the best part is tables are word to word. Every explanation is simple. Look, this is the first table, this is second table, and I told you that here just it is written mobile web browser. This is the difference of point. Okay, and in the previous table it was written web browser. Apart from this, all layers, all explanations, purpose, everything is same in this table, which I also told you at the time of taking the lectures. And now we are moving towards next topic, risk and controls. I know there was a small topic, explain workflow diagram for e-commerce. This was in exam in May 18, but I already explained you how you do shopping, login, selection of product, then checking, payment gateway, dispatch, all those things. So these are very simple. Obviously, when you are going to use technology, by default, you are going to face risk. So there are various types of risk they have given here. But again, risks are not at all technically difficult. So I think you can manage on your own this risk. Okay, because we want to focus on more important concept. Once risk will come, obviously to mitigate the risk, we are going to implement controls. Now understand, control is not only responsibility of user, or it is not only responsibility of e-commerce vendor. It is a responsibility of every player who is involved in that e-commerce transaction. You can see user, seller, buyer, merchant. You can see government, network service providers, technology service providers, logistics service providers, payment gateway, every player who is involved. So they are liable to implement controls so that they can mitigate the risk. And always remember, risk in this is something called a channel. You can understand chain. It's a chain, not channel, but it's a chain. So risk at any player may affect the whole chain. So that's why they need to implement controls everywhere. And for that, what they need to do, look, they are saying that they need to educate the participants, which means train your employees, communicate organizational policies to its customer. On most of the websites, if you go, I'm just showing, wait, I'm also, now look at, this is a Flipkart website, and at the bottom of the website you will find, look, all different types of policies. You can see security, privacy, written policy. You can just see help, payments, shipping, everything. So it is always given, it is a duty of e-commerce vendor to provide such kind of thing in the website itself. By providing this, you are actually educating or communicating your connected points or consent points to your customer. Apart from that, you can see ensure compliance with the industry body standards. Then most of the thing, you can see virus, hackers, password. This is we have learned in chapter number 3, that you need to protect your system from all those things. Now, after this topic is obviously not there in our syllabus, and we are going for the next concept, cyber security risk consideration. Now, look, there is always a risk is going to come despite a security implementation. Okay, and there are two different types of losses which you may face. One is direct financial impact, another is indirect operational. Financial means money, operational means you are not able to work properly. That is called operational impact. Now, here you get two questions. Explain SA 315 recognizes that IT pauses. Here, pauses means bring. When you are going to implement technology, along with technology, risk is going to come, that they are discussing. We have discussed all this risk. Okay, you can see unauthorized changes to program system, failure to make necessary changes to the system of programs, inappropriate manual interventions, unauthorized access to data. All these things we have discussed in chapter number 3 also. And when you are going to discuss risk, which means the next topic is nothing but going to be a controls, various steps of controls. Now here there are 15 controls they have given. I told you that you try to remember 8 to 9 points, whichever easy for you. Okay, whichever easy for you. Now, then guidelines and various laws, which are very easy topic, which you can manage on your own. After this, a different act which is connected with the e-commerce. They are also very important, because in audit, in law, company law, you are learning all those things. So these are very simple. I don't think here, but try to remember their year. FEMA 1999, Companies Act 2002, Competition Act 2002, Indian Contract Act 1872. Please try to remember these years very well. And a small table, earlier what problem we were facing when there are not strict rules and regulations regarding the e-commerce, but now this topic is not that important. Okay, and one of the last topic for this is nothing but a special laws. It is nothing but IT Act and RBI norms, which is again easy. Digital payments, you know that, because right now we are doing online shopping, so we also have a different methods to pay online itself. Now there are first the new methods, UPI. I told you that instead of managing 4 different bank accounts and through 4 different applications, what UPI gave me a freedom in single app. For example, Bheem is one of the example of UPI, where I can link my all accounts. That is what UPI, unified payment interface, a common platform where you can connect all your bank accounts, and you can, at the time of payment, you can use any bank account using Bheem app. So no need to manage 4 different apps for our bank accounts. That is what the concept of UPI. Look, again, this is a revision lecture. Immediate payment service. Generally, I hope you have heard about RTGS, NEFT, but you can do RTGS and NEFT in within the bank times and on working day. After bank time, what? If it is not a national holiday, then what? Then we have a IMPS service where you can immediately transfer the fund from your account to another account. Then they have again given the example of Bheem app itself. And Bheem app, actually, if you know, in 2016 when the demonetization was happened, if I am very correct, okay, 2016. So that time they have launched Bheem app. Mobile wallets is nothing but one of the example of how we are using our virtual currencies. Now Paytm. is one of the biggest example of mobile wallets. Free charge, MobiQuick, they are one of the examples of mobile wallets. And believe me, someday when you get time now, try to research how they are earning, like how Paytm working. I know little bit about Paytm working concepts, but obviously it's a revision lecture. I don't want to discuss, but maybe if in the future, obviously I'm thinking in my practical lectures, live lectures, I will explain them how Paytm are working, how and how they are earning. Because always students ask me, sir, Paytm is giving so much discount, then so many when you buy a biscuit or chocolates you get 20 rupees Paytm, then how they are getting the profits? But there is a superb concept behind the Paytm, but let it be right now. We'll proceed with the next concept. Aadhaar enabled payment service, which is not launched till now in India. They are in the process. But what they are saying, no need to carry your debit card. Suppose whenever you want to pay, like in Big Bazaar, after getting all the grocery, whatever you want, when you are coming to the counters and when the payment comes, you just give them your Aadhaar card number. Okay, and then they will ask you put OTP, because when they will enter your Aadhaar card number, OTP will come to your cell phone. Just give their OTP, and the payment directly will be cut from your bank account. Obviously, for this, your bank account should be connected with the Aadhaar card. Now, people say, "Sir, I have a four accounts." Then you need to select the account, any one account through the Aadhaar card, which you want to use with the Aadhaar card payment system. Okay, and then if you don't have an internet, don't have a smartphones. So if you have a featured phone, then star 99 hash, using this service also you can do certain functions of the payments and banking. That is what called unstructured supplementary service data, star 99 hash banking. Traditional methods, nothing but again e-wallet. I don't understand, when mobile wallet already they have taught, then why they are coming with the e-wallet concept? But when it is there, it is there. Okay, next, cards, debit card, credit card. The biggest sorry, not disadvantage, but the differences in debit card, when you swipe, your liquidity will immediately affect, because your account will be immediately debited. In credit card, when you swipe, liquidity will not be affected. After swiping, after 45 days, you need to pay back to the bank. That is what the biggest advantage if you use wisely. Okay, and finally, net banking. Nowadays, nobody is using net banking, but it is also one of the very important part of your online payment system. Because I personally use, on some website, I don't use debit card or credit card, I use net banking. Okay, like for example, yesterday I just ordered from Zomato. So he told me that, okay, if you use net banking of ICICI Bank, then you will get 200 rupees off. And I immediately changed my payment method from Paytm to ICICI, because I was having an account in ICICI Bank. So that time I used ICICI net banking. And then finally you will get advantages and disadvantages, which is very, 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 very easy. Okay, so that you can manage on your own. But once you will complete this, the next topic you will get is nothing but computing technologies, which is nothing but the emerging technologies. And as a chartered accountant, you need to understand all those things. Okay, so we will continue with this part. So we'll start with our first concept of computing technologies, or you can say emerging technologies. In today's world, obviously, for a CS student, you should know, okay, what world is using a new technologies for doing their work. First is virtualization. What is virtualization? I told you that it's nothing but the creation of illusions in front of the users. Okay, what user thinks and what actual things will be there will not be the same. It's a different. It is illusions in front of the users. Like in my laptop there is only one hard disk. Even in your laptop there will be only one hard disk. But when you go for my computers, you can see C drive, D drive, E drive. They are the partitions of the same drive, same hard disk. But when you see C drive, D drive, E drive, so some users, they do not have some good knowledge of computers. They will feel that, or if you ask them, okay, how many hard disk I have, look, they have a basic knowledge of the computers. They are not technically very sound like you, basic knowledge. And if you ask them how many hard disks there in my laptop, so by looking at that C drive, D drive, E drive, they will say, sir, in your laptop there are three hard disks. But you know the reality, there is only one hard disk. And we have created the illusions, we have divided the same hard disk into three different drive. Okay, this is the basic example of virtualization. Now here we have done two topics, if you remember. One is server consolidation, sorry, one is application of virtualization, another is types of virtualization. Now I'm just giving you the example of our first application of virtualization. And if you remember, server consolidation, I gave you the example of Google. Google has multiple servers, remember, multiple servers across the globe. and it is not possible for Google to keep each and every an expert for every servers. So what they do, using the concept of virtualization, they will consolidate virtually, okay, using a network. They will consolidate all these servers, if you remember this diagram, into one system virtually. What is virtualization? What is virtual? Not real. Okay, so virtual machine host system, host, and these all are guest. Okay, and now only one expert will sit on this virtual machine host system, or you can say host virtual machine system. Here it's basically virtual machine. Understand why it is known as virtual machine? Because understand, this user thinks he is working on this computer, okay, but practically using this virtual machine, he is actually handling, there are so many servers. Now this is what the illusion in front of that individual. User is thinking, I am only handling this machine. Which machine? This machine. That is what the concept of virtualization. Okay. Yes, creation of illusions. Yeah, either from one to many or from many to one. Here it is example of many to one, from many servers into one server. Okay, understood. Host. Host means, I hope you know that host, party host, who welcome all the guests at one place. This is the wording they are using, so you can connect multiple servers are hosted at one machine virtually, not physically. All the servers are at their respected locations, geographical locations. From this virtual machine, we are managing those servers, okay, and we are reducing the cost of operations. Understand this concept, okay? Now, after this, if you remember, next is disaster recovery. Virtualization will also help us to mitigate the disaster which we are facing right now. I'm just giving you another example. If you remember, for disaster recovery, if you remember, I gave you the example. You are a student, which means client. Okay, you are using either laptop or cell phone to get the service from server, which is me, and I am giving you service through my phone. Okay, this is server. This phone is server. If accidentally I dropped my phone and it got damaged, this is the story which I told you, if you remember. Okay, so now it will take 10 days to repair my phone, which means server is facing downtime. Server is facing downtime. But look, when server faces downtime, users are not concerned. What user says, I have paid for the services, I want the services. So look, when my phone got damaged, I cannot wait for 10 days. Let it be. Don't think of me only, think of yourself. Will you wait for 10 days? Which means today you are sending me query and after 10 days I will solve your query. Will you wait? No. What will you say? Sir, I paid for the services, I want the services. Now what is the solution to me? So what will I do? Now understand, every server will always have backup. So what we will do, till the server will get repaired, we will restore this backup. Restore, like what we do in case of phone, we transfer the backup of our old phone or the phone which is in repaired to the another phone. And now that is what known as virtual machine. Now why it is known as virtual machine, I will tell you, don't worry. Okay, so we will restore the data from server to virtual machine, and then from virtual machine the service will start. This is what the diagram we have done. Service will start. Now what user will think, when user are sending the query and it is getting the answer, user will think, that he is getting the answer, he or she is getting the answer from the main server. But in reality, look, what user thinks is nothing but the illusion. We have created the illusion that you are getting a normal services, but what is reality? Virtual machine is actually providing service to client. Now how this is how it will also help in restoring your services during the downtime of your main server. Okay. Apart from that, there was a concept of testing and training. Remember testing and training? I told you that don't think much about that point. It is only two line. Just remember and let it go. Okay. Next, you have done portable application, portable workspace. I also give an example, portable application. Generally, like right now I'm using Zoom. Okay. But that Zoom I need to install in my laptop and then only I can use Zoom. But suppose I'm just giving another example. If I want to carry an application in pen drive, I want to carry an application in pen drive. Why I want to carry an application into pen drive? Because suppose if I'm out and I want to use my application, then I cannot force any person, any friend, or any other's laptop that you need to install this for me. I cannot force them. Or might be there are restrictions that cannot install also due to the security reasons. So in that case, the application which I'm carrying on the pen drive, when I plug the pen drive, that application will run from the pen drive and not from the laptop. There is no need to install into the laptop. If you remember, I told you the entire story. I'm standing behind the commercial building. You met me. Your office was in the same building, and I couldn't able to use your laptop to access my content. Remember that story I have given in that lecture also. So portable application means carrying your application in pen drive. When you plug the pen drive and when you try to open the application will be open. Now what you will feel that you are using the application from the laptop, but what is the reality? That application is in the pen drive. Virtualization. And finally, portable workspace, like you can carry an application into pen drive, same way you can also carry the entire operating system into portable drive. Okay. Now this is what your application of virtualization. And then we have done types of virtualization. There was one concept of hardware virtualization. Now if you remember, I have given one example here also. I will again show you the whiteboard. Okay. And we will proceed with the next part. I'm just clearing this part. Okay, I'm clearing this part. And if you remember, I have given you an example of bank, branch. Now in any of the branch, they don't have application in their computers because application is installed in the central server, chapter number 5. Okay, so they need only what? Browser and internet to access the application. Then now a new concept came into the bank. Then when you want to use only internet and browser, when you want to use only internet and browser to perform your work, then there is not entire computer is required. Entire computer means monitor, keyboard, entire cpu, that cabinet which contains motherboard, hard disk, processor, ram. The cost is increased because whenever you also want to go for a maintenance, you need your maintenance cost will also increase due to this motherboard, processor, ram. So bank people came to me. I'm expert, you know that, correct? So I told them, hey, don't worry, just install one powerful server in your branch, powerful server, and provide virtual terminals like monitor, keyboard, and there will be one device. Okay, there will be one device, small device, which will be connected with this server using network. Okay, so provide this virtual terminals to all your users, and all those things are connected with the server through the network. Now these are virtual terminals. When the user in this terminals, again understand, in this terminal, monitor will be there, monitor, keyboard and mouse will be there, and a device will be there which is connected to the server. So all these users who are sitting here, all the users who are working on their respected terminals, they feel that we are working on our computer, but actually indirectly they are working on server. You have divided the server into multiple part. That is what called hardware virtualization. That is what called hardware virtualization. Practically, I will be requesting after your exams, just go to any bank branch and just look it over there. They will not use the entire computer model. They will use this model. One server will be there in branch, and all the computers are connected to server, and they are using every services from the server. Okay, this was the concept of hardware virtualization. Then if you remember, the next concept which we have done, network virtualization. Try to remember, I explained you. Okay, you can access YouTube, Facebook, or multiple websites at the same time, but still you have only one connection. Now this is your one physical connection, correct? So when you have only one physical connection, how can you access YouTube whose server is different, Facebook whose server is different, Twitter whose server is different, Amazon whose server is different? So you cannot install so many physical cables at your home. So what will happen? Your one single cable, which is at your home, physical cable, whether it is cable net or geo fiber or whatever internet you are using, one physical cable will come, and whenever you will open a website internally, that will get divided and multiple channels will be created internally. We are never going to come to know such kind of things are happening within the cable. So whenever you will open one website internally, there, if you remember, I told you that the speed at which they operates bandwidth. Suppose you have 1 Mbps speed. So when you open first website, it will access through 1 Mbps. But when you open second website, your bandwidth will get divided. Your bandwidth will get divided. If you remember this diagram, I also gave you an exam, sorry, in the lecture, that it will get divided into two parts, 50-50. Then when you open third website, then 33-33-33%, one third, one third, one third. When you open four websites, one four. And every time when you open a website, your speed will reduce because it is divided from the same bandwidth. It is divided from the same bandwidth. That's why the speed will reduce. And I also gave you an example. When you download so many files at the same time, look at the speed. It will reduce to the lowest level when you open multiple files for download or multiple websites at the same time. Okay, so this was your network virtualization. And finally, storage virtualization. If you remember storage virtualization, I told you that if you have a multiple storage servers, and suppose 100 GB, 200 GB, every server have some storage free, then using the concept of storage virtualization, we can virtually pull this storage and create a virtual storage of 1500 GB. So what user will see 1500 GB? Actually, the Google Drive, which you are using, is the best example of virtualization storage concept. The space 15 GB you see on Google Drive is actually not from one source, it is from many sources, which you will never come to know. You feel that I am storing my data on Google Drive, that 15 GB belongs to me, but in reality that 15 GB is actually from different infrastructure across the world. Okay, that is the best example. So here we have finished with the concept of storage virtualization. Once virtualization will get over, the next topic will start is nothing but grid computing. Now, if you remember the concept of grid computing, sharing of resources, for that I have given you an example of, I have 5 departments. If you remember, like this, I have given you the diagram: legal department, transfer pricing, then tax department and audit department and some other department like this. In same building, all are connected with each other. Try to remember grid computing. Tax, remember September month, one of the most crucial month. So when tax department is over occupied and tax department doesn't have more capacity left to process the data, what tax department will do? Tax department is over occupied. So the task which is not able to perform by tax department, what they will do, tax department will do, again, don't go into wordings, go for the concept. So we have a concept of grid computing where we can use the resources of other departments, because legal department, audit department, transfer pricing or other department, they are not over occupied, their resources are ideal. Look at the word, resources are ideal. So what we will do, our task, can you see this task? Now we will divide our task into small parts and we will use their resources to do our task. So using others ideal resources for our task is known as grid computing. But practically in grid computing, the best concept, the main important concept is group of companies will come together, group of companies will come together, and they all will share their resources with each other. So every company is a service provider and every company is a service receiver. That is what the main definition of grid computing. Okay, so guys, that was the main explanation. Please look at the diagram which I have given you in your book. Okay, so it will be more clear to you what is grid computing, and then you will find benefits of grid computing, the resources which we share in grid computing. Resources which we, the most common resource which we share is actually nothing but the CPU, processing capacity. The other resource which we obviously share for performing the task is nothing but the storage. Third, communication, because look, group of companies, they are not physically coming together, they are not physically uh, creating a group, all are at their respected locations, but using the concept of virtualization, using network, they are connected with each other. But look, when they are connected with network, the most important part, if they want their task should be fast, they should get a better performance, then their communication should also fast. They should use high bandwidth so that the large amount of data will be in and out at a good speed. So that is communication. Apart from software and licenses, now obviously look, when you use grid computing, the best part is I'm using others resources. So suppose if I want some application for a 1 month 2 month, I will not take the license of that application, I will use that application from the grid. The person, look, there are so many organizations, so any organization who took the license of that application, so I will use their application on grid and I will pay the rent to that application. But some application vendors, they have created the application in such a way that, yes, for using, suppose for example, I give you the example also, suppose we have 100 computers over grid. So some companies, they have created the license of their using their softwares on the grid in such a way, using application on grid in such a way, with one license you cannot use application on more than 10 computers. That is what the restriction they have given. Yes, so with one license they cannot use application on more than 10 computers, so at least they need to buy 10 license for 100 computers to perform at the same time. So that is what software and license, and it is a win-win situation. Look, by default software license means for every computer you need to buy one license. Okay, but after the introduction of this grid computing, the next which we are going to learn, cloud computing, software company knows they need to be flexible. So what they told, okay, it's okay, don't purchase license for every computer, but for at least 10 computers buy one license. Now this is again a typical illusionary example just for the understanding perspective. Don't take it rigid. Oh, so I told 100 computers, 10 computers, one license. Example to make you understand. Okay, and apart from that, some special devices which we can share with our partners. Then application areas, and then security, some of the aspect which you should consider while designing the security of grid. That is what that question means. Okay, next, cloud computing. Now cloud computing is nothing but the most important part of cloud computing, where one company will provide the service and all other will receive the service. That is what an example of cloud computing. Okay, like Google, so we are using the Google Drive. Okay, but we are not providing to the Google Drives any service. Understand the difference between grid computing and cloud computing. Grid computing, group of companies coming together and they all are sharing resources with each other. But cloud in cloud, only one company will provide the service and all other will receive the service. Now there are four types of environment in cloud. I hope you have heard of advantage, limitations. Please do it on your own. Four environments: private cloud, where a company will create a cloud only for themselves and their employees. That is, obviously other people cannot use the private cloud. Now such kind of cloud, either they will create on premises, which means in their own office, or they will appoint some third party to create a cloud for themselves. Okay, so on premises, or we can say outsource. After that, characteristics, advantage, disadvantage, you can do it on your own. Easy. Public, a cloud which can be accessed by everyone. That is what called public cloud. Okay, like Google Drive, it is not restricted to any organization or any users. It can be accessed by anyone. That is what public cloud. Then hybrid. Hybrid is nothing but the mixture of public and private. But here the concept says, suppose I am a company who is using the private cloud, but for some resources I want some resources where I don't want to invest on resources. I can take those resources from public cloud. I can take those resources on rent from public cloud. So I have already private cloud. I have already private cloud. And now I'm also going to use the resources of public cloud. So that's why it is called hybrid cloud. And last part comes community cloud. Some of the companies who are facing the same problems, like for example, I'm facing the same problem. I have a funds, but I don't have a such kind of funds that I can create my private cloud. So in that case, what will I do? My which means myself, my 2 3 friends, suppose 4 friends. So we 4 friends came together, which has the same problem. We have a budget restrictions. We cannot create our private cloud. So what we have decided, we four will come together and will create a common cloud, and that common cloud only will be used by 4 of us. That is what called community cloud. Okay, now these are the 4 different types of environments, cloud environments. But after that, you understand the cloud which we use is actually public cloud. And in public cloud, we have a different services. Software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service. Depending on your requirement, you use the services. When I talk about infrastructure as a service, which means whatever you want, everything will be available. Hardware, database, operating system, applications, everything will be available. Now in that also we have a different examples, like network as a service. Like if I want to create intranet, extranet, so intranet and extranet is also example of cloud, where we are going to use someone else network for our purpose. That is what network as a service. Google Drive, storage as a service. Then I don't want to create my own database. I want to store my data on the cloud, database as a service. I have an application. Yes, for CA final, I have created an application. I created, but now I have deleted because in CA final, I don't teach now because my subject is not there. For that application, it was an online application. You need to download from Play Store. Once you download from the Play Store, when you open that application, you need to fill some information, your name, your email address, your phone number, and those informations will be stored again on cloud. But where it will be stored? Backend as a service. So generally backend as a service we use with the online applications. And then desktop as a service. Now this service right now, believe me, most of the companies are using this service, desktop as a service, because in this pandemic, all the employees are at home, but the computers on which they were working is in office. And as you know that government told that initially it was a complete lockdown. Right now also there is only 1/3 capacity you can use. So how other employees can be utilized, how they will work? So desktop as a service, through this service, company server will be available to every employee at their home, and they can work on their profile, which means on their applications. That is what desktop as a service, a practical example in this pandemic. Okay, then platform as a service is nothing but if I want to create an application, but for creating an application, I don't have any platform. Google will say, I am there, Jignesh, I am there. I will give you all the necessary designing tools, implementation tools, testing tools, maintenance tools. You just create your application and only provide me rent. Platform as a service. Software as a service. Now I don't want to buy any software. I don't want to install any software in my laptop. So what will I do? I will go online and I will use their subscription based services. That is what called software as a service. In that also we have a 3 instances. Testing as a service. Now along with the platform as a service, when I create a software, I need to test the software. To test the software, I need an environment. I need values through which I can test. I need a place where I can compare the results. Now everything will be done by testing as a service providers. API as a service, application programming interface. Now here I also told you that how Zomato is communicating with Google Map. When two application wants to communicate over internet, then you require a intermediary, API, application programming interface. Interface means mediatory, through which two application can communicate with each other. And at last, email as a service, where obviously in big companies, I hope you have observed, big companies, they don't have their any employee don't have them personally, they don't use their personal addresses. Every employee, like for example a company's PwC or ENY, then their employees ID will be like, suppose I am the employee of ENY, then my ID will be cheda.jignesh@eny.com. But look, ENY, like there is no email server like ENY or PwC or Reliance or Tata. So what they do, they use the services of Google, Gmail services. Okay, and they use their own names, and for that Google will charge them. So when you create your own domain, now eny.com, at the rate tata.com, so look, name is their company's name, but they are using the email infrastructure of Gmail service provider, which means Google. So they need to pay to the Google. Understood? That is what called email as a service. And finally, we have other models like, you can see, communication as a service, data as a service, security as a service, correct? Identity as a service, WhatsApp, IMO, like all the services, they don't have their own infrastructure. They use communication as a service. Hotstar, Amazon Prime, they are known as data as a service, where they provide their data on a subscription basis. Nowadays, security and identity. Look, actually, identity as a service is also part of security as a service. I do not want security infrastructure in my physical environment. When everything is online, everything is cloud based, I want to create security infrastructure also in cloud, which means I want to outsource everything. Here also I have given one diagram of my own application. When you download my application, you need to fill the information and then you will get OTP. Once you enter the OTP, then that OTP will be verified and then only you will get access to my application. Now everything was online. I was nothing I was doing handling manually. Never I have installed any infrastructure for such kind of things. I was actually using the service of security as a service and identity as a service, where security will be provided for my application online. Okay. Now here we have completed virtualization, grid and cloud. Okay. In the next part, we are going to start with the remaining topic. Okay. So now we'll start with the next topic, our mobile computing. And mobile computing is nothing but, now you have a so smart devices with you and you have a superb wireless communication so that you can access your data from anywhere at any place. It is not a geographical restrictions, and you can work on your data, which is called mobile computing. The three most important part of mobile computing is nothing but, first, mobile communication. So it is nothing but the wireless infrastructure we have around us, and the related protocols and communication properties and formats which are very superb. Mobile hardware is nothing but the devices which we use, like right now I'm using Microsoft Surface, smartphones, etc., and which we can carry any place and we can work on them. And then the software is nothing but the operating system. Right now we have iOS, we have Android, we have a Microsoft operating system, and along with that we have applications on which we can work. Okay. Now here we have two concepts, benefits and small work, and the most important part is nothing but the limitations. But these are very simple topics, so I think you can manage on your own these topics. Okay. But after this, green computing. Now what is green computing? So I told you at the time of lecture also that now we should use our resources reasonably. Okay. Now I'm just giving you a small example. The cell phone which I'm right now using, the Microsoft which I'm right now, Surface I'm using, once it will not work fine, what will happen? Have you ever thought? You will say, sir, you will sell it as a scrap or you will sell it as a second hand, correct? So I will sell it, then someone else will buy, then he will sell it. But when it will not be in a condition to use, it will be like a scrap, correct? But understand the things which is inside the laptop and cell phone, motherboard, processors, capacitors, ICs, these are non-degradable things which are very harmful for the environment. And we don't have right now any foreign solutions also. So what they are saying, create and devices which are environmental friendly, biodegradables, use the resources responsibly. For example, I use my laptop which I'm using. Look, Surface just now I bought because now my laptop was little bit outdated. That was also a Dell touch screen. I used that laptop for 7 years. Understand, 7 years, and still my daughter is using for their online lectures. Understand, use your responses resources responsibly. That is what the concept of green computing, one of the very easy topic, and they have given the different techniques how you should use the resources responsibly. But again, there is no technical point in green computing. Now once you finish with the green computing, your best topic, bring your own device. Companies are saying, if we don't want to work on our computers, get your devices into the company and work on them. What we want is work, work and work. What are the advantages? Obviously all the advantages are from the company's point of view. If you think from like lower IT budgets, companies IT budgets, happy employees because they are working on the on devices. Now when you are very familiar with the technologies, you will adopt the technologies faster. That is the third point. reduces support requirements. Now company don't have an infrastructure to set up, so they don't require any support staff also. And the most important, when the people employees are working on their own devices, they're most comfortable, so efficiency will increase. But along with the benefits, disadvantage will also come. Network risk. Initially all the computers were connected with the network physically, so our network team used to see what are accessed by which people. Now we can't see. Device risk. Now this itself, cell phone, the Surface, iPad, very very small devices, portable devices you are carrying, you kept somewhere, you just like here and there, and the devices got stolen. And the look, we are not worried about the stolen device, but what we are worried about is the data inside that device. Application risk, the things application which are using. And the biggest part, viruses. You are using the pen drive for your friends for transferring movies and all the other stuff, that other stuff. But understand, due to that infected device, when you take that infected device to your company for working, that virus will also spread to the company server and other computers. And why such kind of risk exists? Because company has not created strong policies, which is called implementation risk. Okay, so this was your topic, bring your own device. And after that, web 3.0. Now if you remember, I explained you first generation of web 1.0, where the pages which you are accessing right now, the website which you are accessing was static. The content will not get automatically updated, refreshed, you need to do everything manually. Second generation of web 2.0, where we have created a dynamic page where the contents will be updated automatically. You can interact with the contents, you can change the contents, you can interact with the other people. That is what web 2.0. But now we are making web more smarter. The web, which means third generation of web. So when you are browsing right now, already you are using, right now, though, you are using fourth generation of web, guys. Yes, remember, fourth generation of web you are using, where artificial intelligence are integrated. So whatever you are surfing, browsing, everything is getting stored, your profiles are created. Believe me, I'm giving you a small example of first, semantic web. Now the semantic web is nothing but, right now when you go to Google and when you search, an autocomplete thing comes and automatically the contents will come. You are no need to type the whole statement. You just type something and the computer will start guessing what you want to search and just select and you will get the results. Now that is what called semantic web. Web service is nothing but two different websites, two different websites or two different applications who are interacting with each other over online. Remember Zomato and Google Map? That is one also third generation of web. It is possible due to third generation of web. Okay, so web is getting intelligent. It is going to watch, store your patterns, your behaviors, how much time you're spending on which activities, and then they will, based on that, they will create profiles. Even you see that when you are using different applications, in between, inside the applications, you will get small ads. Do you know how those ads are coming from? Where it is based on the interest, because whenever you are browsing everything on Google, they are storing everything. Yes, and they are using your knowledge for showing the ads. That is web 3.0. Okay, now after that, IoT, internet of things. We have done so many discussions on this. Nowadays all the devices will be smart, like your AC, your fridge, your washing machine, everything will have a Wi-Fi chip. It is get connected to internet and you can control with the cell phone. Just a click of cell phone, guys, click of cell phone. Yes, that is what IoT. Now it is not only for the objects like this electronic devices, it's also used for people and animal also. Now people, I gave you an example of, if you have seen one movie called Holiday, Akshay Kumar's movie Holiday, similar movie was also created in South. The hero was Vijay, Thala Vijay, or the, I think you know him as like Vijay. So in that, in the last, tracker is injected into the body of the hero, and then you can track where he is going. In geographical, National Geographic channel or Discovery, you can, mostly National Geographic and Animal Planet channels, you will find that in reservoirs, the big sanctuaries, animal sanctuaries, they keep a small tracker in the, in what belt and neck band in the animals, and they can track where the animals are there right now. So all things are known as IoT. Okay, now obviously there is one of the question in IoT is nothing but the applications of IoT. We can use in home CCTV cameras, and government, what they have said, that the dustbins which they keep, keep on the roads. Once that dustbin will get full, dustbin sensors will send message to the BMC, or you can say municipal corporations, and then they will come to pick up the garbage from the device. This is what they are saying. Okay. Apart from this, nowadays wearables is nothing but the smart watches. They also have IoTs. Apart from that, smart city. Now guys, there in the last budget, you have seen that they have created a concept of smart cities where everything will be controlled by sensors. The traffic, the whole, how the city are using the resources, everything. Sensors, look here, what they will do, they will keep sensors at every places, and that sensors will collect the data, and that data will get into the servers, and then server will analyze those patterns. That is what they are talking about. Smart grids is nothing but the electricity company will use the smart grids, but right now India, it is, right now I don't personally feel it is possible. Like, I'm living in a Mumbai city. You see the city, it is totally unorganized city. New Bombay, look, in Mumbai also there is a concept called New Bombay, a very organized. There they are implementing the smart grids where they can see the patterns of uses of electricity. Apart from that, industrial internet of things is nothing but in company, in all the big machines, they will put the sensors and they will check the pressures, their gas, their temperatures, using this IoTs. Okay. Connected car is nothing but the concept. Driverless car you have heard of. Tesla, if you heard of the Tesla car, it's getting a day by day smart car, when while driving a car in on automatic mode, auto mode, it will sense every vehicles going a nearby distance. But look, personally what I feel, we have very less information for using the smart car like Tesla and this autopilot mode. We also require smart roads, because roads should also provide data to the car, that how much traffic, how many vehicles are going ahead, speed of the vehicles, and then that car will work more efficiently. In India it is not possible, so let it be. Apart from that, health devices like MRI machines, CT scan machines, they are also will have this data, and they will collect the data, and the data will be directly sent to the remote servers, and then that data can be accessed by doctors directly. Okay. Apart from that, smart retail, if you remember Amazon Go, there is a concept called Amazon Go. In lectures also I gave you this video also. In that, whenever you will pick up any product from the shelf, automatic, yes, automatic counting will be done, addition or deletion, like this. So if you pick up, the product will be added to your cart. If you keep it again, the product will be removed from your cart. They will smartly handle which product is where. Then they can find the stock, everything on just click basis, just click and you will get the details. And then smart supply chain, you can see supply chain here, what they're talking about. Suppose if I am in the business of, what you can say, transport business, I'm just giving another example, transport business. So I can track where my all the vehicles are right now traveling, whether they are following their path or not. Yes, that is what called smart supply chain. Okay. But when all those things will come, benefits come, risk will also come. But risk part, I think little bit easy and easy to understand, so you can manage on your own. Okay. And then you will get artificial intelligence. And apart from artificial intelligence, there is a last topic called machine learning. Artificial intelligence is nothing but whatever we intelligence we have, human natural intelligence, we want to put those intelligence, all the things which we have, okay, all the knowledge we have into the systems, and systems should take the decisions like human being. That is what we are expecting in artificial intelligence, like robotics, what we say. But in our syllabus there is very small introductions about artificial intelligence and application and their risk. So applications and risk again are easy. So I'm discussing about the machine learning. Machine learning is a part of artificial intelligence, but it is now one more step ahead than the artificial intelligence, because in machine will learn without human support required. Yes, yes, I will give you an example. I also gave this example in classroom also. Remember that game, chess game? Whenever you play with the computer game, whenever you play a game with the computers, and suppose if the computer is not able to win against you in that game, computer will remember all your strategies, and next time if you follow the same strategy, you will not able to win, and the counter attacks will be there, because internally computer will change their steps. They will recode their moving steps which they want to move. That is what called machine learning. If used wisely, then this is a blessings. But if we are not able to handle, then there is a disadvantage, and a lot of disasters can be created, which you have seen in different movies also, what disasters or robots can create. Okay. but we don't want to get into this. For us, this information is important and enough for the exam point of view. So here we are finishing the revision of chapter number 4. Hope I tried my best to cover all the contents, but always students should remember in revision, it is like a revision, like it's a fast and try need to cover all the topics. Just okay. So thank you very much. All the best. And next I am going to give you a chapter number 5.